The number 3.142857 is the result of the division of 22 divided by 7. In the practice of Kabbalah, the individual has to handle trigonometry, has to handle numerology, has to know how to apply cosmogony, and then with all of this, the individual creates a synthesis that is within the archeometry. It is extremely important the date and the time when the individual came out of the mother's womb and took at that moment his first breath. This information for each of us is especially important because this is as if we were to take a picture of the heaven at the moment that the individual was born. It is also important how the individual received his name and what kind of correspondence exists with his name. The 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet is composed only by consonants. There are no vowels in this alphabet. The vowels are formed by the antecedent letter and by the letter that follows, and this is how the vowels are formed. You will find mysticism, since this ennobles the experiential knowledge in order to achieve the revelation and illumination. Also, the Kabbalah is theosophical since it attempts to discover the mysteries of God's life and its relation with the creation and the human being. Likewise, here in this translation of the word creation is based on the traditional way, when in reality it should be translated as emanation. For example, we shall see how one of the names of God, which is currently well known as the name of Yahweh. Yahweh is composed of 4 letters. Yod, He, Vav, He. The letter Yod has a numerical value of 10. The letter He has a numerical value of 5. The letter Vav has a numerical value of 6. And again, the letter He has a numerical value of 5. The added numerical value of these letters equals 26. So when we utilize the science of gematria, we go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where it says, "And God said, let's create man in the image and likeness of us." In other words, the human being is made in the image and likeness of God. This manifestation of likeness has to be manifested in a positive pole and in a negative pole. However, the feminine uterus is the only one who can generate and transmit. The male can only transmit the semen, but the feminine uterus is the only way that we can reincarnate into this terrestrial plane. There is no other way of coming into this physical plane. In fact, even an individual who has reached a state of illumination such as Buddha, Christ, or a Viracocha has to use a feminine womb in order to reincarnate in this earth. And this individual has to use a physical body that is composed of terrestrial matter. When we observe the whole process of how an individual develops inside the mother's womb and how under normal circumstances, in order to be born, it takes 10 lunar months or 9 solar months, then we marvel of how everything that we have learned can never be forgotten. This current DNA study, in which when the baby is born and the stem cells are kept to restore the individual to his point of equilibrium, for many years was not given the appropriate importance, and these stem cells were discarded. We carry years and years of information in each DNA part of our organism. Experts in handling the DNA in the laboratory or genetic engineers have revealed to us that all the information and history stored within the DNA never disappears, because all of this information is recorded. I mentioned to you, for example, of the invisible worlds and the visible worlds with this laser beam. So in the same way, there is a great amount of information that the individual is not aware of. If I give somebody a CD containing precious information, but if this individual does not know the code to open this CD, he is only going to be able to access absolutely anything. In fact, he might be able to open the CD, but he would not know how to use this information. Our brain, therefore, needs to be exercised, and in order to be exercised, the physical body has to provide to the brain all the necessary elements in order for the brain to work in conjunction with nature. When I want to request a student to enter to a deeper Kabbalistic study, he arrives with a beer bottle, or he smokes 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and he believes that with the amount of nicotine and the amount of alcohol he has ingested, this is in addition that he might be consuming some kind of narcotic, he is going to be able to grasp the depthness of this science. There are certain steps and certain disciplines that need to be followed by the student of Kabbalah in order to get to a deeper understanding of this spiritual philosophy. The first step in the practice of Kabbalah is the development of the will. The individual has to practice some exercises in order to develop the will. There are no capsules, nor tablets, nor homeopathic, nor natural products that can be used to awake the will. The individual has to work in order to develop the will. Something that distinguishes us from the anthropoid is the thumb finger. The anthropoid does not have this finger opposite to the others. When the reasoning is awakened, then this thumb finger in phrenology has a close relationship with the will, and this is why we have it opposite to the other fingers. How is the will going to be developed? The individual has to train his physical body, because the physical body is an animal part. According to the Kabbalistic tradition, the awakening of the rational mind is our first illumination. The Bible story when Adam and Eve ate from the tree of science of good and evil is a metaphor in which the serpent, which is a symbol of wisdom, is when the anthropoid or animal awakes his rational mind. Adam and Eve are cast out of paradise so they would not eat from the tree of life, because then they would be like gods. In this Bible's metaphor, 2 archangels are placed as guardians at the entrance of paradise, but the individual has to return to receive the second illumination. And it is precisely in this tree of life where the study of the Kabbalah foundation is based upon.